Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm just going to be reading a couple stories from the Reddit thread, "What is the most terrifying thing you've ever experienced while home alone?" If you guys enjoy these stories, please subscribe and leave a thumbs up. Thank you. A couple years back, I woke up at 3 a.m. to see someone walk past my bedroom door. I called it him. I had just woken up, not thinking haze, thinking maybe my boyfriend had come over while I was sleeping, but I got no response, so I knew it wasn't him. I got out of bed, stupidly forgetting to take my phone or any kind of defensive item with me, and I went into the front room where the light was on to be met with a random guy staring at one of the walls. I asked him who he was, and I got no answer. At this point, I'd actually woken up to realize I could really be in trouble, so I ran back to the bedroom, grabbed my phone, and ran outside, on the phone to the police, who showed up within a few minutes. Turns out the guy was mentally ill, and to this day neither myself or the police know how he got in. I moved into our house a month before my husband did, and I was painting our guest room with the windows wide open. I was busy painting, listening to music, when I realized it had gotten dark outside. I heard the leaves crunching outside, but I didn't think anything of it because we have a lot of neighbors who walk their dogs. When I went to close the windows, I saw a man standing in my backyard under the tree, maybe 5 feet from our back door, staring up at me. I fell to the floor and realized the back glass door was probably open and nothing but the screen, which he could have easily just walked into my house. I crawled to my phone and called my husband, who then called 911 while rushing home to me. We have a 6 feet tall fence around our yard. This person hopped it to watch me. I couldn't sleep right at night for a few months. One day while I was working afternoons a couple years back, I woke up at around 10 a.m. and started to watch American Dad before getting up. Next thing you know, I hear my back door open. A normal thing in our home since we only use the back door. But no one was supposed to be home yet. I assumed it was my mom and I didn't think anything of it. Then I heard footsteps coming up the stairs as my bedroom door was on the second floor. I called out to my mom and I got no response. Then my door cracks open and a head pops in. It's a 30-ish-year-old man with blonde beard and a big mane of greasy hair who looked shocked to see me. At the time, I was about 260 pounds, 6'3", and 20 years old, male. I was also sitting in only my boxers. Before I was able to realize what was happening, he asked, "Is this the blank residence?" To which I reply, "No." He makes a swift exit, and before I can recollect my thoughts, he's not even in my driveway. I talked to a family friend who is a veteran police officer. Turns out a man has been pulling this kind of stunt to rob people in nearby towns. I was babysitting a kid who had a video monitor, and I was told that she wouldn't wake up while the parents were out, and if she did, to call them right away. I was watching TV with the monitor set off to the side to keep an eye on her, and right around 11, the camera's view shifted a few inches. It then began to slightly jiggle like someone was messing with it. I was squinting at it, trying to decide what I was actually seeing, and I kid you not, the whole screen burst to static for a few seconds, and the kid started wailing. She stood up and was screaming in her crib, just like one of the kids from The Sims. When she didn't fall back asleep after a few minutes, I called the mom and she said, "Okay, we're on our way home. We think she has nightmares sometimes, and it's fine. Never again." I was about 21 or 22 and living by myself at the time, and I left my window open on a pleasant night. It was low enough to the ground that you could get in if you really tried, but the screen wasn't easy to take off, and I lived in a fairly safe neighborhood, so I didn't even think twice about it. I woke up in the middle of the night because I smelled smoke, and I reached out to turn on my lamp, and my hand hit what was very obviously a person. My brain fully woke up at that point, and I realized there was a shirtless man in my bedroom smoking a cigarette and staring at me. I remember yelling for him to get out, and I must have spooked him just as badly as he spooked me, because he leapt out my window and took off. I slammed it shut and moved a bookcase in front of it, and when I went out the next morning in the daylight, I found the screen sitting against the house. I didn't sleep the rest of the night, and I haven't slept with the window more than cracked ever since. I also absolutely refused to live on the ground floor of a building. I don't know if he was planning to rob me or rape me or both, but it was absolutely terrifying, and it makes me wonder how many times it happened and I didn't wake up. When I was 19 in my first apartment, I had someone knock at the door. I looked through the peephole and saw this burly, heavy-set man who abruptly started screaming to let him in. He was screaming things like he was going to beat my ass and kick the door down if I didn't open. I called the cops as soon as someone got on the phone. He started body slamming my door to break in. I was freaking out and crying as I quickly had 5 cops show up within 5 minutes. As soon as he heard the sirens, he quickly walked away and they met him at the bottom of the stairs. Apparently he was coming after the previous renter, but was extremely intoxicated. They arrested him and thankfully he never came back. I ended up breaking my lease and moving out 3 months later. It was in a very nice neighborhood, but it quickly made me wish I was back home with my family instead of being on the other side of the United States. I've been pretty fortunate based on these comments, but I was home alone one night while my wife and son were visiting my mother-in-law. I walked back to our bedroom to see someone rummaging through my son's room on the video baby monitor. Immediately grabbed my firearm and yelled to the other side of the house, "I am armed, come out slowly," over and over while slowly making my way back to his room. Got there, flipped on the light and nothing. Searched the whole house pumped full of adrenaline. Finally satisfied I was alone, I went back to my room and the guy was back in the room. I took a closer look and I am ashamed to say I was looking at myself. The camera is a live feed on our Wi-Fi and it was streaming on a huge delay. I have never known it to do that and has not done it since. My boyfriend worked away from home a lot and I always struggled to sleep on the first night he was away. On this occasion, I was woken by the sound of a man shouting and then someone banging on wood or a front door. I jumped up and looked out my bedroom window just in time to see a man dressed in all black walking through our garden towards the house. I ran to the front of the house to look out the front window and make sure he kept going. He did, but he met up with another man dressed in black walking towards my house. I was terrified and I called the police. They arrived in a matter of minutes and checked out the back garden, but they were gone. Turned out a neighbor had caught them both trying to steal his car, and one had escaped through the gardens while the other had run through the roads, and they had met up outside my house. I didn't sleep at all that night, and my brother came to stay the next night. I'm so glad I live in an apartment now. Much more security. I kind of have a similar story. I was maybe 9 years old by myself at home. My grandmother had chickens. They usually ran around outside, but always stayed in our yard. So I started hearing loud noises coming from them outside. The rooster was louder than normal and lots of wing clapping. So I look outside and see 2 men I've never seen before chasing the chickens. They were trying to steal them. It was more funny to me than scary. They eventually caught a couple and took them. This was in my home country in Ukraine, and we didn't have cell phones or even landlines, so I couldn't do anything but wait for my grandmother to come home.